All right, what is up, friends? I want to get you caught up here on what you can expect. Well, actually, what's going on right now, presently in the crypto market, and what you can expect going forward. For those that don't know me, have never watched any of my videos or anything, I cover smart money. It says right here I do smart money and smart socials research. I'm going to show that to you today, so that if you want to get started with that, you can. I know a lot of you are already used to what I do here, and I am going to go through the workflow on Nansen so you can see how to find tokens that are ready to move. I'm going to show you some of this indicator that I believe is the best indicator on TradingView, and I'll go over that just really briefly. I want to make this a short video if I can, less than 30 minutes, and I will timestamp everything so that if you want to just jump around to whatever it is you're looking for, you can do that very easily, and you don't have to watch the whole video to find it. So as usual, this is not financial advice. I'm just kind of taking you through my investment journey. I've been doing this since 2017, and I think you'll be able to get a lot of valuable things from watching this. So let's just jump into it real quick here. I'm going to briefly go over my Twitter, what I've posted lately. I've talked about multiple X's that we've gotten on SNSY before, and recently we've actually gotten another 2X out of it on our Discord. And if you want any of these links, I've got discounts for Nansen, I've got a link to our Discord, stuff like that. You can find it below, if you go down on the into the description area of this video. And if you want to click on any of those and join us, or get the Nansen discount, whatever you want to do, it's down there for you. There's another token that we track in our Discord, AGRS, and it's done about a 2X since we were accumulating down here at the lows. And this is the indicator I was talking about. If you go onto my Twitter here, Byte for Sale, you can see this post, and you can get a 7-day free trial, or like I said in the video description below, you can get that 7-day free trial as well if you want to check out that indicator. I do believe it's the best indicator on TradingView. It's called Engineering Robo, and I've been using it for many years. There is an AI version of it, by the way. So let's see. So this is something I posted today about the most active chains over the last 7 days, courtesy of Nansen. And we see things like Avalanche, Optimism. But the thing I want to call attention to is Ethereum. I think it's really good to see that Ethereum's finally gaining some traction, starting to see more active addresses, because that's what really drives the market, when we're not talking about memes, of course. And I mean, what you don't see on here is Solana, which is, I know, surprising a little bit, but this is based on the percent change. So Solana is usually at the top. It's usually got the most active addresses. These are ones that are starting to see a little bit of a revival now. So you got like BNB, Base is always doing pretty well. It's got a lot of addresses as well, but it's seen a big increase. So ETH and Base tend to kind of go together when the market's doing well. And these are some of the other ones that you can look into. And I'll show you here in a minute on Nansen how you can use this information to find tokens that you might want to jump into. I think that's all I wanted to cover there. Yeah, so let's just keep moving here. I did post something recently, and somebody made a post. Let me go here, hang on. I just need to find where I posted that. For some reason it's not showing up here. I don't know why. Well, anyway, I'll just show you on here. So the, let me snip this. All that we're looking here on this Nansen query is, it's basically a smart money stablecoin indicator, where if you look back here in 2021, anytime it flattened out, and then it, just like a chart, if it spikes up real hard and then it starts to break down, well, the breaking down is headed back towards this euphoria level, and that's going to go along with, people being greedy, of course. So really you should be, accumulating as this thing's rising if you're in a bull market, which I believe we are. And then when it breaks down, that's when you make your gains. And so you saw that right here recently. It broke down, and if you were accumulating in this range, which we were, we were accumulating here in our Discord and here, then, we're starting to make gains already. We got really good buy areas on this. So once this thing starts climbing back up to this panic threshold right here, that blue line, that's when the bottom of the market happens usually, or, maybe these lower highs appears where it happens. Whereas 2022, let me just make sure you can see okay. So 2022, this is about when, the market started going back up. This was the bottom of the market. So anytime you can see that on this query, that's what you want to be looking for. You want to be buying heavily once it gets above this line and crosses back down, and then you want to start selling once it gets below this pink line. But we're not back down there yet, and this can hang out down here for a while during a bull market, and you can see that represented here. November 21, 2021 is where the top of the market was for the last, if you want to call it the last cycle. So you can see this still came down one more time and then it went back up. And all this is measuring is what the risk appetite for, stable coins is. So if it's down here, that means people are heavily invested that are smart money wallets. If it's way up here, then that means they're holding on to stable coins and waiting for the market to turn around. So this is good to see. I mean, this tells you that the bull market's still on. This tells you that smart money is still purchasing tokens. They want to make gains. They're not way up here in the panic threshold, not willing to, up here they're not willing to purchase alts until they see something that looks more favorable for a risk-on market. So we are risk-on here, but back here in 2021 and 2022, this was telling you that it was risk-off currently. But things look good for now. And then what else do we have here? We've got the breadth indicators, which is telling you how many tokens on CoinGecko are bullish, short-term versus medium versus long-term. And so these two short to mid-term lines here, they're all the way back down here to the entry threshold. And this kind of goes along with the chart we were just looking at. So these are starting to curl up, indicating that we've got a sustained pump that's probably going to happen, just like it did back here, October 2023, just like it did back here in October 2024. So the question in a lot of people's minds is this going to be a typical cycle? And I'm going to pull up a chart to show you this. Where's my presidential chart? Is it this one? Yeah, okay. So is this a typical cycle where, we'll start back here in 2015, where there's 1,071 days from the very bottom to the very top. So you got 1,071 days right there, bottom to the top, 1,071 days. And if we do bottom to top again, which I estimate is going to be around 197K if, for Bitcoin, if this plays out as it has similarly, and then that would put the BTC top around, October or so. And this is just a fear greed indicator down here is what you're looking at. So if it's way up here, then it's greedy. If it's way down here, then it's fearful. So using just this Krypton fear and greed indicator, this was the place to be buying down here when it was down at this very bottom line. And some people were, some people weren't, but we were watching this. And what I had shown people at the time was right here on the Bitcoin chart. As soon as this breaks out, then that's going to tell you there's more upside to come. And so right around here, I was telling people it looks like it's really close to happening. And this kind of goes along with, here, let me just bring this up only. So this is Bitcoin dominance. I figured that the resistance area, I drew this way back here in September 2024. I figured that the resistance area was somewhere in here in this red box. It got a little bit above it, but if this turns out that this was the top, then, if we pull fibs on this, I haven't actually looked at this, but if we just use the candle bodies on the monthly, then you're looking at the golden pocket being down here about 47%. Could even come down to the 786 to 44%, and that's where I have that line right there. It's kind of drifting along with that angle, and then this one's drifting up with this angle. So as soon as we start getting more significant dip, currently Engineering Robo does show on the weekly that it's probably still bullish. Let's see. Yeah, still bullish on the weekly. But if we look at something like the daily, it's probably showing bearish by now, I would suspect. Give it just a second to load here. Yeah, there we go. So currently it's bearish. If I bring up the Engineering Robo AI buy sell signals, then it's going to show one right here. And you can use this, to buy and sell, whether on any chart, even on stocks, gold, any precious metals. This works on any of those charts. So if you want that 7-day free trial, it's down in the description below. Okay, so what did we talk about here? We were talking about this on the curl up. It does seem like we're seeing, altcoins start to get a revival here, which, it's happening right at the deep discounts that we're seeing. When it hits this line, that means all the altcoins are deeply discounted. There's only 9% of all altcoins that are bullish right now on, the short-term view anyway. Long-term, there's still 20% that are bullish. And you can tell, if you look in this box right here, it tells you, the 30-day above the 360-day cross, 9%, 90-day over 360-day cross is almost 10%, and the 180-day above 360-day cross is 20%. And the reason why that is on this yellow line, the reason why it's higher, is it takes that one longer to react. It's kind of a lagging indicator, and these react much more quickly. So anytime the purple crosses above the blue, which is really close to doing now, you usually get a pump, and that's what happened 3 times here. And then when it crosses down, you get that dip. I was telling people right here about the end of March that was a top, and it turned out being that it was a top there. So we're watching out for this for our Discord members. We always want to try to keep them ahead of the game, accumulating early so they can make the most gains. And that's some of the things we've been doing over the last month. All right, let's see, I wanted to tell you about this link that one of our members told me about. It's coinglass.com bull-market-peak-signals, and this is showing that it's 100% risk on. There's no peak indicators that have happened yet, indicating that the bull market is over, and you can look at each one of them. You can pull up the chart for them. So yeah, this might be something that you want to look at in the future if you want to bring that up and have it ready for yourself. And that's what I want for you. I'm not here to sell you our Discord. I'm not here to sell you Nansen. It's fine if you don't want to use those. I'm always going to give you my opinion on other things as well, so that if you just don't have the money to commit, to these other things, you'll still know what I'm planning, what I think could happen in the future. And that's something I want to talk about really quick, and then we'll get into Nansen here. So this is the support line that I have currently, about 90K. We're right around 100K for the bullish line. This is my own. I do this myself. This isn't done by any indicator. I use fibs. I use volume profiles, different things. But if we were to remove these and just think in terms of, kind of the low. Hang on one second. I'm trying to get this thing to go. Okay, there we go. So the low end of the range, where most of the candle bodies and the wicks are touching. This one didn't quite come down to here. Usually that's where I would mark it. I don't know if I want to use that or not, but we'll just use this one for now. Actually, I'll use the wicks since it's closer to this wick here. So usually when you get a breakout, from this one, it comes back down to retest. You can see right here, these 2 wicks hit perfectly, resistance, support. So there's still a chance we could come down a little bit more maybe. I mean, I would be surprised if it happened right away, because we are looking pretty bullish currently. But let's just say we take this wick right here, which is about, what is that, 73.6. What if this thing just went sideways during the summer? I don't know that that's going to happen or not. This is a really nice push that it's made, but you have all these fair value gaps and imbalances that happen. I mean, if you bring it up on a weekly chart or even a monthly, it's just 2 solid green candles coming up. So usually these have to be retested if there's a quick move up like that. And if we just take the candle bodies on a 3-day chart, we could see a dip down to like 86K, something like that. But if we start bringing volume profile into it, we'd look at volume profiles just from this local low to the local high, we're going to start seeing, and I think I may have to go down to a daily chart to see it better. Yeah, there we go. So we can see there's a value area high right here. There's a point of control, which this, just looking at this range, this red line right there is where most of the volume took place between buyers and sellers. And so we've got a pretty big imbalance above the value area high. It's basically telling you that, this is a good median price, this point of control. This is a good median price for Bitcoin. Right now, people are buying at a premium because we're above the value area high for this range. And then the value area low way down here, you would consider that as a very good discount for Bitcoin. So people that are being patient, they're probably waiting for it to come down here. So if I just remove those lines, you can see, value area high is the top line, point of control is the middle red line, and value area low is the bottom. So at the very minimum, you're going to see this come down to here, in my opinion. Now, could it fake out up first and then come down? Sure. I mean, that can happen. Maybe they're going to grab liquidity here, and I'm talking about the market makers, and then bring it back down to here. And this would be a support area. So 94K, 94.7K, something like that. Now, if it lost that support, then you'd be looking at this point of control at 84.5. And those are the two areas that I would expect it to hold at, unless we got some kind of much bigger correction. And then, maybe it did need to come all the way back down. And that's what I was talking about. During the summer, what if you just get this right here? What if you just get sideways during the summer and then it starts working its way back up? I just want you to understand from a macro perspective that this could be a possibility. Okay, so what's the other possibility? By the way, I don't think it would fall into that. I really don't think it would come into this number right there if it was to do that. And it's not going to be straight lines, like I said, and up, down. We know everything goes like that and then eventually pushes up. That's just an example. You can see right here, it's choppy. Nothing goes up and down in a straight line. So this is a very quick move, in my opinion. If it was to get above here and then it held this for a bit during the summer, or 1 or 2 months, or just 1 month even, and then took off, then you're looking at whatever the fibs are telling you, basically. Let's see here. 126 to 139, I would say, maybe up to 157. So somewhere in this range would probably be the next top. And I know that's a huge range, and you're probably saying, well, anybody can put a box on a chart and say, oh, well, look at that huge area that it could end up in. But, nobody knows where the top's going to be. So if you wanted to get a, kind of like an average line, then it would be 139K roughly. And that's using this local top here with this local bottom, dragging the fib, projecting it. And this is what it would look like if we did get a pump in the summer. Now, if this thing just kind of dragged out until October, which I kind of feel like it will, I'll just put a line here. I don't know what day in October it would be. But if this was to happen, then there's two things that could happen in this case, in my opinion. So let's say it goes ahead and breaks, it starts going, and then it comes up here and it does what we were talking about just then, and then it does like a falling wedge or a bull flag, and then it pushes up one more time. And I really wanted to extend that to 197K, but I didn't draw it long enough. So anyway, it wouldn't look like this. It'd be more choppy, but that's about where I would expect it to end up. And it could still do that either way. So that's if there was an immediate breakout and then a hold of the new support line at the top there. But if we got something that was more, choppy back into the range like this, then you could see something more like this. And it would, it kind of do a cup and handle. And then eventually, it would do more of a blow off top move. So that's the two things that I think could happen if the cycle, if the market cycle acts like previous cycles, is what I was talking about. So that's kind of based on, the presidential chart here. Of course, this is on a weekly chart, so it's going to look different than what I was just showing you on a daily chart. But anyway, I just want you to understand how the market could play out. And if we were to see, I've got a friend that helps out in our Discord. He's a very good trader. Actually, we got 2 really good traders that help out in there. But let's just say this does go sideways, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing here, until October. He thinks that's when the big move could happen, after October. And that is a possibility. And the reason why is because both of the big pumps in 2023 and 2024 both started in October. So I guess this would be the third option. I think this is less likely just because I'm going by 4-year cycles. So just understand that this is a possibility regardless. But those are the 3 most likely that I see. All right, let's jump ahead. I want to show you some Nansen stuff here. So this is AGRS. I posted this in Twitter just earlier. Where's it at? Yeah. Need to get that thing out of the way. Why is this thing? Okay, there we go. So one of the tokens we track in Discord is AGRS. It's called AGRS TauNet. We were accumulating around the support level, and then when we received a, well, I put a check mark there, but once we received a buy signal from the best indicator on TradingView, that's when we knew it was ready to go, and we got a 2x since that happened. So this is what the chart looks like, and I'm going to show it to you again here. This is currently what it looks like. So what did I want to tell you here? Anyway, that's the 7-day free trial thing I was talking about, the AI buy signals here. Oh, I wanted to show you on our Discord what that looks like. So right here, let me pull this over for you. We have a channel called Engineering Robo AI Alerts, and it gives buy and sell signals based on the daily charts for each of these tokens. And so we've got a long-term plays list here of a bunch of tokens that we've tracked and we've researched. And I've got charts that, we can pull up on each one of them, render. I'll show you render here. And so I've already got these lines here already set up. And so that if you buy here at support and you just want to do a short-term trade, you would take profit at the next line above. And then if this thing starts moving up again, then TP1 would be right there. And we even have end-of-cycle targets for some of these. So if you're interested in stuff like that, then maybe you want to check out our Discord for a month and just see if it's for you. A lot of people enjoy it. We have a lot of fun in the chat. But these are buy-sell signals that show up each day, and they're based on the long-term plays, or they're based on tokens that have been requested by our members. And it coincides with these buy signals. So let's jump into Nansen, because I want to show you some tricks here. And before I get into this one, let me bring up one more thing. I want to show you a couple of tricks that you can use. So I am going to talk about AGRS first, and then I'll get into something else, and then we'll wrap this up. So Nansen has recently upgraded, and they're constantly trying to push the envelope and make things look better and give us more tools. And this is one of those things. It shows you what the top 100 holders are doing, what the smart money's doing, what public figures, whales, exchanges. I mean, you got everything. You can just kind of click through all this and see what's going on. So let's say that you were a holder of AGRS. You got your buy signal here, or maybe you bought down here at support, and you're wondering, okay, maybe you're in our group, our Discord, and you see it nearing this TP1, and you're wondering if maybe you should take some profit if you're a short-term trader. Well, you can go into Nansen and check out the top 100 holders, and then you can sort by the last 7 days. And so here's the people that have been buying the last 7 days. It's in the green. And then here's the people that have been selling. So maybe I want to click into one of these people that have been selling and just see, where they sold, if they're a good trader. They have a total balance of 100K. It's a pretty good wallet. It's not bad. It takes it a second to load sometimes if there's a lot of information. Let me just refresh it here. Okay, so I'm going to put it on the daily chart, and that's another great thing about Nansen is they've set it up to where you can see this on a daily chart, or you can see any time frame right here pretty much. Okay, so if you kind of move forward and look and see what this person's been doing, and actually you can see it below here as well, all of their activity. It looks like they had purchased some way before, because they sold some here when it made a first quick move up. But then they kept the rest of it, and they waited until it hit their target, which is pretty close to the target that I had as well. But you can see here, it shows how much money they made. Yeah, it looks like they purchased 47 days ago on this right here, or actually sold 47 days ago right here, and then they sold the rest of it 2 days ago. And you can see, how much they hold. They may still hold some. Oh, okay, their total balance, let's see. The total balance of just AGRS is 111K. It's not their total wallet. So if you wanted to click in and see, if they're a good trader, if you want to kind of follow what they're doing, you can see what tokens they've traded. You can see their win rate. They may only have AGRS in this wallet, actually. No, they had WETH and Lux as well. So 100% win rate, realized P&L of 5.5K, 4 tokens traded, 59 trades. And you can see what they're holding here and the value of it as well. So it looks like they're not all that active. Maybe this wouldn't be one that you want to track. But the main goal here is you're seeing if smart money or any other wallets are selling their positions. And you can see on this chart here, you know, it's been climbing, climbing, climbing. And now it's starting to turn over, meaning that people are selling. I don't think there's any smart money on this one. Yeah, there's no smart money on this one. Well, is there? No. It looks like smart money has sold this one. But you can look at public figures and see if there's any. Yeah, there's none holding it currently. See if any whales are holding. Looks like there must be some because it's taken a second to load. Let's see, 31,258 total tokens. Is this right? Yeah, so it's just one whale. And we can click in and see what they've done here. See, we're on the daily chart. Looks like they bought, oh yeah, they bought a long time ago, 175 days ago. They actually bought near the top. So think about the mentality of somebody like this. If they bought near the top of this move, or maybe they bought in here somewhere actually, but if they were buying around that area, then their mentality is right now as well. You know, I'm just gonna have to sit on my hands and wait for this thing to come back up. So you can imagine once it gets back to that level where they bought, you know, whatever that would be, $1.80 or so, they may just sell at that point and break even because they're tired of holding it for so long, and then the price might just keep going up. You know, in the bull market, which I believe we're in, like I said before, in that case, you know, once it started gaining momentum after being down for so long, then I suspect that it probably would get over $2 and keep going. So that's a trick that you can use there to see if it's time to buy or time to sell. I know in that case we looked at, you know, is it time to sell on that one? But you can look at your top 100 holders like we were talking about before and flip it over to, you know, to see who's been buying lately, and then just click into their wallet, see if they're a good trader. This is a high balance wallet, over 200K, 100% win rate over the last 90 days, 229K net worth on this one. I'm waiting on their win rate to load up. They must trade a lot of tokens. That's why it takes a little while to load sometimes. But these aren't really considered smart money wallets here. You know, they have to have the smart, like the nerd emoji next to their name. So this one just doesn't have any smart money right now. Now, if we were to look at one that did, or we could, you know, we could just go over here to smart money and see who are the best smart money traders over the last 180 days, or maybe we want to look at the last 7 days. Let me just switch the, well, we don't want funds, so I got to change my filter here. Oh, that's right, I forgot I had that filter on. All right, so, you know, some of these have a 100% win rate. They don't have too many trades, which is good. You can see what they've been trading. Ethereum, their ROI on Ethereum on this one exactly here is 28% currently. If you want to find somebody that has a really high ROI or the best ROI, let's see if I can load that up. Well, they must be doing something with the servers right now. It doesn't want to load up. Oh, there we go. It actually did work. So that's win or mute. You probably don't want to, you know, you don't want to look at win or mute because that's a market maker. Here's a fund. Oh, here we go. So we got somebody that made 14,000%. Let's just see what they bought. If I can figure it out. Sometimes you got to go through and research these closer. $441% on PayPay, 920% on PayPay. What's their unrealized? So you can look at both their unrealized and their realized here. They're still holding some PayPay there. You can see their top losses, their top gains. So they made 2.3 on PayPay. They lost somehow 3.5 million on LDO. I doubt that's real. I'd have to go ahead and look at it. It does show they have a negative realized P&L. So, you know, maybe you don't want to look at this person because, you know, there's something weird going on there. But the point is that you can go into, you know, some of these really good traders. You know, they have the nerd emoji or the cool nerd emoji there. And you can see, I'm trying to find one that's more normal here. But you can see what their profitability is, you know, 50% win rate. They've made 278,000, up 30% over the last 90 days here. And so there's a lot of information that you can glean from this. Now, if it takes a while for it to load, that means they trade a lot of tokens and there's just more information that has to load there. But you can see right there, SPX MOG, Bitcoin, which that's the meme Bitcoin. I can't remember. It's like Sonic, Inu, whatever. And then you can also see their unrealized. So this is a way that you can go in and see, where did they buy it? What's their price point? Like, say if they bought it somewhere in here, you could tell yourself, well, if they bought it there, then I know that's probably a good support level if I like this wallet, if they're good at trading. So that tells you where your support levels are. Yeah, so here's where they bought. They bought 2 days ago, 5 days ago, 32 days ago, and 35 days ago. So they bought multiple places. Yeah, you can see they trade in and out a bunch. They may have a bot going. That's why it takes a while for it to load sometimes. But yeah, it seems like they've been accumulating, but then they sell all of a sudden, and they've been accumulating more lately. And these are really big purchases here of 34 and 44K. So that's a lot of conviction there. But, sometimes when somebody trades in and out a lot like this, it's hard to follow them because they're, trading every 4 hours or, every day or something. And maybe that's too much for you. You can check in once a day on this and make plenty of money. All right, so let me show you a few more tricks. How long are we going here? Okay, we're at 30 minutes right now, so I need to hurry through this. But let's say, like I was talking about on my Twitter just a second ago, where I was showing you the stable coin. And actually, let me check my notifications here, make sure there's no questions. What do 1.5 million people? That's really funny, actually. So this person asked genuine question, what do 1.5 million people do on Avalanche? So they were referring to the thing I was about to tell you. So you got 1.5 million active addresses is what they're talking about. That's a change of almost, well, pretty much a 10x, over a 10x of active addresses. So yeah, that's a ton of new addresses. And that's a really good question. I don't trade on Avalanche, so I'm actually going to have to, think about that a little bit, how I'm going to respond to that, because I don't know. I know why people trade on Ethereum. I know why people, it's basically because they, there's tokens, or maybe Avalanche specifically. Maybe there's been some whales that have been accumulating Avalanche, which might have triggered other people to create new wallets. There's probably, even though it says active addresses, there's probably a lot of dead wallets out there that don't get used much, because whales are constantly making new wallets, to try to hide their activity. So anyway, if you go into Nansen here and you click on, where's it at, chains, I'll show you how I found out that information. I think I sorted it. Yeah, I sorted it about change here. So this is percent change over the last 7 days. You can change it to 30 or 1 year. And you can see who or what chains are seeing the most increase in active addresses. So maybe these are new wallets, or maybe they're old wallets that are getting reactivated. But another thing that I think is really helpful is that you can go all the way over here to the right. And transactions are really important too. You want to see a good, healthy amount of transactions, and Avalanche has that currently. But you can go over here and see that Ethereum fees are up 400% now. And I was telling people 1 or 2 months ago that as ETH comes down, the time to accumulate is at support levels that I was showing, because you don't want to, wait until the fees get up there and now you're having to pay more fees. So just something to think about. Even though it's up 400%, the fees are still low compared to what Ethereum usually is at the height of the bull market. So just understand that if there are Ethereum tokens, I do believe a dip is coming. It feels like at least a small dip will happen, and just to retest this breakout. But that may be a good time for you to accumulate whatever Ethereum chain tokens that you want. So the way that we would use this information is we would say, okay, what are the 5 chains that I want to look at here, and I'm going to go back to tokens, and I'm going to put that. Where's it at here? Here it is. So at the very top left, you can select up to 5 chains. I usually have Ethereum base and Solana chosen, but maybe you want to throw Avalanche in there, and BNB, let's say, and then hit save. And now what I've got over the last 24 hours, I'm checking what smart money has been doing the last 24. I can go here and look at sectors if I want to, just look at AI maybe. And now you've got a whole list of every single type of market cap. You know, these will vary. Is my market cap? Yeah, there's right there. So I got 3 million, 55 million, 337, almost a billion. Oh wait, that's not a billion, sorry. That had a K near it, not an M. So that was 337K. So a lot of these are lower caps, maybe new launches. And you can see how many smart money traders are in them. There's just one over the last 24 hours. But if you go up to like 7 days, you're going to see many more smart money traders. So the lower you go, the lower amount of smart money wallets are, have been purchasing these. We know virtual has been very popular lately. Fartcoin has seen a revival. Seems like some of the other ones are Tau. Is that 7 days? I want to see over the last 30 days. You can actually hover over these and see how much percentage they've gained over the last 30 days. Let's see what some of these other ones have done. I'm trying to find one that's in the positive. Maybe 7 days is the best. So 500K net buys on decentralized exchanges right here for Fartcoin. I don't know why it's showing that it's down 4%. You'd figure it would be up if it's got a positive net flow there. But anyway, you got 1.45 million buys versus 909K sells. It doesn't make much sense that Fartcoin is showing that it's down 4%. Maybe it hasn't updated or something. But you do have 17 smart money wallets in it. Virtual has 81. It's very popular. But you can look at, let's just look at all sectors, and let's do it by market cap this time. So maybe you want to look at just large caps. And now you're seeing that this kind of, going back to Fartcoin real quick and about it, seeing a 4% dip, that actually doesn't surprise me because I believe we are at a short-term, where's my chart? A short-term resistance area. Maybe it comes back down to here or here like we were talking about. So you're seeing a lot of these tokens have negative net buys currently. It has more sells than buys. So that tells me that smart money is taking short-term profits and then they're going to buy back maybe. If you're a long-term trader, in our Discord, we don't really recommend that. If you just have a small portfolio or something, it's better just to hold what you've got instead of trying to trade in and out a lot, and then just hold till the end of the market. Unless we see a major top forming or something like that, then we'll notify the group. But you got a lot of very recognizable names here. We've already talked about two of them there. You got ENA, Jupe, Trump, GRT, Render, Pepe, Link, Bonk. So WIF, JLP, Wrapped, BTC, a lot of your favorites in here if you're into high caps. But maybe you want to go down to mid caps. Maybe you want to find something that's like a lower, under $1 billion market cap. And maybe these are the ones that you want to accumulate, like Desync. We were way early on Desync back in 2023, I believe, late 2023. Or no, it would have been early 2024. We did a 40X on this one, I believe, in our group. So this will happen more. These new launches will happen. And if you have Nansen, you can find out about these early. ALK was another one that we found. GOAT, we didn't find exactly at the beginning, but we found it pretty early. And the reason for that is we have alert channels that will alert you to, if smart money jumps into a brand new play, it'll tell you if smart money bought it again. So you'll have like a, where is it at? Trying to find one of these emojis here. Here we go. So if it has a seedling emoji on Nansen, that means it's a brand new launch. And then if it has, we coded this for our Discord, but if it has a repeat emoji, that means smart money bought more of it. So very useful information here, but you're also getting the earliest information you can on a brand new launch here. So if you're watching this closely, sometimes you can make a really nice play. And I'll just bring one up as an example. This one, Pinky, I don't know that it did any good, but we'll look at 12:53 p.m. for me anyway, and just see if it did anything. I have to go down to a 5-minute chart. And we teach people how to play these as well. I've got a lot of videos showing how to play these. Yeah, so it looks like this actually alerted a little bit before. You could have made like a 40% gain there. They're not always going to be winners. I mean, these are degen plays, remember. But what we teach is how to use the MACD. If you're a degen player, just remember that they're very risky. So you can lose a lot of money on it as well. But I just wanted to show that because, there's some of these that just really take off. And here's one here, a noodle. I bet it did really well because it repeated many times here. But I'd have to find out the first. This is just for degen people. I mean, I figure some degen type people might watch these videos. So this happened on 5/12/704. Well, where's the alert? Here we go. 5/12/704. So if we look back and see what happened at that time, was that AM? PM? Yeah, right here, 5/12 or 7/12 is what I said, wasn't it? So anyway, somewhere around 4 million, and it peaked out at 18 million. So at minimum, you probably would have made about a 4x on this one. And the reason why is, MACD continued to rise. And even you could have used the 1 minute and jumped in and out of this as it crossed over the line multiple times. So this is some of the stuff that I teach anyway. As long as it's above the line, and maybe you bought over here somewhere, you would have sold right there, but you would have been right back in here. And you could have taken that trade after it crossed down, made a little gain. You could play this here or jump up to the 5 minute and just play the longer term game. But it bounces around a lot. It's not easy to play this in real time. But once you get more comfortable with it, you know what the buy and sell signals are, and it becomes much easier for you. It's all about repetition, right? Okay, that's all I wanted to show. I mean, there's so much more to Nansen. I wish I could show you everything about it, but it would just take too long. And I'm trying to remember, you can look at even what's trending on Mindshare for Nansen, what people on Nansen, like the free users, the pioneer users, professional users, what the best tokens are for them currently. And, if you're in our Discord, you can even go in here, you can click on this token, you can grab the contract address. I don't know if this one showed up or not in our Discord though. Yeah, because it's BNB. I don't know if BNB would have showed up there. But anyway, there's just a lot of information here on the Nansen platform, because you'll know what smart money and pro users, what they're looking at, what they consider to be the best investments currently, and you can even rank it or change the rank and see what it is by rank change, like within the last 7 days or 24 hours. So Siren here on BNB, it's really popular with pro users currently, or you can just look at it by score. So Mudang, House, Dupe, and these other ones are like brand new launches. Okay, well, I'm gonna end it there. Let me know if you enjoyed the content. Maybe I didn't explain something well enough. Maybe there's something else you want to see. Let me know what any of that is down in the comments below. Hit like, hit subscribe, share it with your friends. It does help me out, so I'd appreciate that. I just want to get the message out there to people and help people make money. That's the main thing. You don't have to buy any of this stuff. If you want to join us, that's great. But I'll keep trying to put free stuff out there for you so that, when you do make some money, then you can join us. That's fine too. Okay. Well, we'll do another one of these next week. Hope y'all have a great week and weekend, and just keep checking my Twitter. I post things from time to time on there. All right, take care.